10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome. We've got another interview today, Monday Mayhem with Chuck and Billy. Be ready. More appropriately, probably these noises. Hey, Eric, feel free to call in. Hey, welcome to the John DiVito Show. It is Monday morning, Monday Mayhem, and we're going to be having Chuck and Billy on today for an interview, and probably the sounds of the day are going to be more so of this today.
Ew.
Right, so that's going to symbolize what we're going on today. Hey, Eric, how you doing? How was your Thanksgiving?
My Thanksgiving holiday was pretty good. Well, and I know we're in finally the last day of November, and December is about to be here tomorrow.
Yeah, you know, I'm happy about that because for me, 2020 cannot be out the door quick enough. I mean, you know, don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out of town. 2020.
Well, Billy's here.
Hey, Billy, welcome to the show. Call in whenever you're ready. We're just going to chat a little bit, and then we'll get the interview going at some point. Make sure you all share my live. And, yeah, today should be fun. I'm looking forward to kind of learning a little bit more about Billy and about Chuck from the Not Your Cup of Tea podcast. I've been, friends with Chuck for a while, and I'm getting to know Billy a little bit now, and I'm kind of pumped up to learn some more about them. But so for you, Eric, you had Thanksgiving. I did too. Are you looking forward to Christmas? Does your family celebrate Christmas in a big way?
We celebrate Christmas, but I know it'll probably be like my dad's family as usual. We didn't get to do much of a Secret Santa drawing at Thanksgiving this year, but we missed my Aunt Kim and her husband Mark this year since they were down in Florida. I would presume visiting his mother, but hopefully, they'll definitely be here for Christmas. And I'm back up at my brother and sister-in-law's today because I think, baby Mila, I think maybe on her way early.
Well, that's kind of cool. Nice. So, what's the date that was she supposed to be born?
I think the latest that would have been either December 10th or December 11th, but about a month ago, my sister-in-law had some like complications where she had to be hospitalized for a couple of days to watch her and to adjust like the pain meds that she was on. Okay,
well, it's scary. We had that with my first son. He was born early, and he was born in November, and it's always scary, with the birth of a child. There's so much that goes into it, and I'll tell you, if I was a woman, thank God that women deliver babies, because if men delivered babies, there wouldn't be a chance in hell. I would do that once, and I would be done. And Chuck and Billy, I see you guys are both here. We'll have you call in a second. We'll just chat a little bit and let the live cast fill up hopefully a little bit. But for me, I was in the room for all four of my children being born. All I can say is God bless women for willing to go through childbirth. I mean, my first son's childbirth was scary. We kept losing his heartbeat, and they had to perform an emergency C-section. And for any of the young husbands out there, let me give you a point of advice. If your wife is escorted into surgery to have a C-section done, now I was by her head, I was in the room, and they put up like a curtain from the waist down, and I was up by her head. So the baby was born, and it was scary as hell, emergency surgery. And my wife, once the baby was out, I didn't even realize the baby was out. It was over on a table, maybe 10 feet away. My wife said, listen, if you want to go over and see the baby, go see the baby. And I was like, oh, okay. Because of course I was still like deer in the headlights at this point. So I stood up and I accidentally looked over the curtain. Oh my God. That was the biggest mistake I've ever made in my life. It was like Silence of the Lambs on the table. Her insides were out, and it was like the most horrible thing I've ever seen in my life. So fast forward to the second baby being born. That was Caitlin. Caitlin, was born on time, and it was funny. I was standing up near my wife's head, and this was a typical birth. It wasn't C-section. It was done the regular way. And I'm standing up by my wife's head, and I felt pretty good. I'm like, all right, things are good. My wife's doing her thing, and the baby's going to be born soon. So in the middle of like the heavy part of the birth, all of a sudden, the doctor looks at me and goes, hey, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I feel pretty good. I'm a little hot. And she goes, you are as white as a ghost. You need to sit down now. So apparently she saw the signs that I was close to fainting at that point. And man, I'll tell you, if men had to deliver babies, we'd have like no population. I would do that once and I'd be like, I am never friggin' doing that again. So congratulations to all the women, man, that go out and have babies. You are definitely a tougher breed than men are after witnessing that whole thing. So, hey, we got Chuck and Billy that have called into the show. How you guys doing?
Hey, John, how are you?
Doing well. And hey, listen, I've got some side effects put aside for you guys today. I figured these would be the sound effects of the day. Ready? Here we go. That's one. There's another. And of course, when you have those two, you're going to follow it up with this.
Ew.
That's our favorite one.
John still hasn't sent it to me.
I know. How do I send it to you? I don't know how to do it. I've got it on my soundboard. How do I send it to you? Remember,
I don't know if you got it. If it's
Xer.
on your computer, you can just like copy it, paste it, and then send it to me in email or whatever.
She recorded definitely directly into the soundboard. You know what I'll do? I'll have her record a separate one and send it to you. I mean, I'm sure she can do the same thing, and we'll send it off to you so you have it. Yeah, I'm kind of like a borderline boomer, so I couldn't figure it out. I'm like, how do I get it off the soundboard and email it?
Yeah,
you're too embarrassed to ask because then everyone rolls the eyes and goes, oh, that old fuck does not know how to do it, Oh, man. So how you guys doing? How was your Thanksgiving?
Oh, it was good.
Yeah.
We don't celebrate Thanksgiving in Ecuador, so I didn't have it.
So now, do you don't celebrate it all, even being from the U.S.? You just kind of pass it over?
Yes, well, it's totally weird now because I don't know. I just don't do it now. I don't know what it is. If I'm with my family, definitely, but I'm not with them, so it's pointless.
Right. You're in a different country, and they don't celebrate the holiday, so it doesn't make sense to kind of do it yourselves. I imagine you've probably, I guess, adjusted to a lot of the different things that you do in Ecuador. Like, what are some of the holidays that they have in Ecuador that maybe that we don't have here?
They have like They have festivals. They have Independence Day here for their own country. I mean, there's some awesome holidays and stuff here. Like they have one called Carnival, which is you go out and people will drench you no matter what, and they'll pour fucking flour on you and shit. It's actually a blast. It really is. But if you're if you're walking down the street,
you get shit faced and go out and do it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Get hammered and like wet me.
Oh man! So I guess let's start the interview. I want to learn a little bit more about you guys, and then we can maybe, if you guys prepared something, maybe we can do one or two of the skits or something you guys do in your show. But I guess the first question I have for you guys is: you guys have known each other for a long time. I'd like to hear from both of you. How did you guys meet? How long have you been friends? And talk a little bit about your friendship together.
Holy crap, dude! I don't even remember how we met.
I don't either. I think wasn't I friends with your brother first before you, and then I met you?
I don't know. I think, well, actually, I might have met you through who that we don't want to mention.
Well, no, actually, I think it was Cheryl.
I'm not sure.
I don't remember how. We don't remember. We're so old, it's disgusting.
Well, now, if you guys are saying who that we don't want to mention, and then the name Cheryl pops up, I want to hear this. No. Okay.
Cheryl's a friend of ours. What I'm saying is it's a thing I used to be with, so we don't want to mention the thing. So we're just gonna leave that thing alone.
Like a moat monster or something.
Creature from the Black Horror Lagoon.
That's the only way I could possibly describe her.
It's more like the creature from the Horror Lagoon, something like that.
Hey, as I've said before, I got married at 33, and I get plenty of those in my track record going back. So I know exactly what you're saying. So, all right, so you guys got to know each other. Now, Billy, are you from Massachusetts also originally? Or?
Yeah. Yes, I am.
So out in the western part of the state.
Yeah, way western.
All right.
Not Springfield. A lot of people tend think that Western Mass is Springfield.
Well, it's funny.
No,
I'm a
from the
Massachusetts
Berkshires.
guy now. Yeah, I'm a Mass guy now, and I was a New Hampshire guy, but a lot of my family's from Massachusetts, and my in-laws are all from Charlestown, right outside of Boston. They were friends with Whitey Bulger's gang and that whole group, and kind of a crowd. So I'm always nice to my wife because I could end up in a shallow grave at any given time. How that goes. But for me, we live in central Massachusetts now, near Worcester, and that's how her family is. They're like, they're from Charlestown. They're like, oh my God, why did you move like way out there to Worcester? Like it's like the other end of the country. It's like an hour and 20 minutes away. It's not that far, but to them it is. So, so did you guys know each other when you were young guys, or when did you meet? How old were you? Teenagers.
Yeah, we were teenagers. I think I was 16 and Billy was 15. I could be wrong, but I mean, I know we met and we hung out a lot. We hung out with each other, and then we kind of like grew apart a little bit, but then we just kind of connected again, and it was just like we haven't stopped being connected.
We have that friendship where you could go, life happens, you go off and do your thing, you might have a family, you might have your job or career or whatever, but then once you connect, it's just like you never stopped hanging out or stopped talking. It's that kind of friendship. So we can just pick it up right where we left off and just keep going.
So did you guys actually meet in high school, or was it like through another group or whatever? Or
no, he wasn't in my high school.
No, we weren't in high school.
I know what town you guys are from, and there's a couple different high schools. So you guys were in different high schools then, the different high schools.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
So what
it was still a great union.
Yeah. What were you guys like in high school? Were you guys sports guys, partiers, part of any group, part of the popular crowd, not the popular crowd? What was high school like for the both of you?
I was a shop kid.
Shop kid, okay. Nice.
I was a sports kid. I played football, hockey, basketball, and soccer. I played all these major sports.
Yeah, so you guys kind of ran in different circles a little bit, right? When you were in school, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I sat at the whatever table.
I became popular after we won the 1993 Hockey League championship. So I was.
Isn't it stupid? I mean, I was the same thing. I mean, all that high school shit is so stupid. And when you're young, you can't see past any of that crap. But I remember I was, my high school, I was captain of the football team my senior year at Central Catholic up in Lawrence, Mass. And, I hung out with other football players, but I hung out with everybody. I hung out with the guys that worked on cars. I hung out with the shop people. I hung out with everybody. I was friends with everybody. And I still remember one time my fucking football coach pulled me aside and saw me like after lunch hanging out. I was smoking cigarettes. I guess I shouldn't have been doing that being a football player. But I was hanging out after lunch, and he pulls me in and starts yelling at me, what are you hanging out with those fucking kids for? You have this, you have that. You shouldn't be hanging out with them. And I remember sitting back and just going, dude, I didn't say it to him, but in my head, I'm like, what, dude, fuck you. They're my friends. And I don't care if my friend is a football player. They have their fucking head under the hood of a car. If they're good people, they're good people. And I don't give a shit either way. And that whole clicky high school stuff to me just is absolute crap. And kids end up being slaves to that shit,
That's the thing, though. After we won the championship, I was the goalie. And after we won the championship, it was, I'm so popular, you're the best. And so I didn't hang out with those guys. I still hung out with my same friends. Fuck them. I don't need them. I don't need that shit. I don't need to be all fucking high and mighty. I don't need any of that crap. I never did. I still hung out with my same friends, and that was it.
And when I got to high school, I was definitely not popular. But, as time went on, I started getting to know everyone in the school. So I ended up knowing everybody. I hung out with all the different types of people there were, and I never, judged anyone. So, I mean, who am I to judge? So I had lots of friends from all different walks and didn't care. It wasn't a big deal to me who my friends were. I just wanted to get through school and get the fuck out of there.
I hear you. For me, I've always been friends with the shop kids a lot because that's not something I'm good at. I'm not handy at all. I have no fucking patience. I can't fix anything. I can't build anything. I can't do anything. When something breaks down in my house, my wife fixes it. And it's funny. We'll go to Home Depot or Lowe's to buy something. And the guy that you go in with, here I am, the big John, the big guy, the bald guy, whatever. And there's my wife who's like 5 feet tall next to me. And the guy is always talking to me. And I always look at him and go, dude, you're talking to the wrong person. She's the one. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I wish I could do more of the things that handy people can do, because it would have saved me a lot of money owning a house. I have to pay to have everything fixed in my house and all that shit. So I see someone that just said, I'm the bald. Hey, nothing wrong with being bald, brother. I see you down in the chat down there. So, all right. So you guys, you grew apart for a little while. When did that happen? Did that happen in high school or after high school?
Oh, no, that was.
I don't know.
I think that was.
I think maybe in our 20s.
I'm going to answer that in a second. Homeboy put something down there. I'm going to answer that in a second. So hang in there. But go ahead, guys.
All right.
Yeah, no, I think that was more recent than, I mean, not recent, but I think that was, it was, maybe in our late 20s.
Okay.
Yeah, at least in our late. Oh, no, we didn't talk for like maybe a few years, and then we just kind of like clicked, and then we didn't talk again for a few years, and then we clicked. It was like Billy said, we didn't talk, we still clicked where we left off. Didn't talk, clicked where we left off. That's exactly what we did. It's like we never stopped being friends.
Both of us had shit going on or whatever. And I'm horrible at reaching out to every single one of my friends, but like the ones that are always there, that are always going to be there for you, they'll either reach out or you'll end up reaching out because you'll see something that reminds you of them, and then you just kind of get back together after that and just end up hanging out every day or talking every day at least. And those are the real friends. Those are the ones that, will never, ever leave your life. And Chuck's one of those guys. He'll never, ever leave my life.
Yeah, it's important to have those type of friends, because I grew up, very, very similar to what Chuck said. When I was probably in elementary school, middle school, I wasn't terribly popular at that point. And even through freshman year in high school, probably not terribly popular. But then I went to to Central Catholic. I played football there and I was good at it. And, I became very popular at that school. And honestly, it was the same type of thing for me. I thought the popularity was stupid even at the time. I didn't like it. It was a chore. And for me, I just wanted to hang out with the people that have always been my friends. But then you have all these little followers that want to be a part of, you when you, I guess, are popular for whatever reason. But then when something happens, if you're not popular anymore, or if something happens in your life, those are the first people that just bolt for the door. And your true friends are the ones that stick around, like you're talking about, you guys. So I've luckily got that group of friends also. Like we have a guys' weekend every year up in northern Maine that I hadn't gone to in a handful of years. And a few of my friends were kind of ticked off at me, but I just needed a break, and I was busy with my kids, and it was my fault, definitely not theirs. But I went back this year for the first time in a long time. It was so good to be around my old friends, just chilling out and, talking about the same stupid stories that we've talked about, year after year and all that stuff. But hey, before I go back to the interview, homeboy, I want to answer your question really quickly. During my life, yes, there were times when I was a bully. I would say in elementary school. I don't know if I had ADHD or whatever the fuck I had, but there was something going on. And there were times I was one of the biggest kids in school, and there were times where I was, a bully on the playground and stuff like that. There's no doubt about it. In middle school, I wouldn't say as much. In high school, definitely not as much. But I'm certainly not perfect. I mean, I think for the most part, I would stick up for kids that needed help. If someone came to me and they were being bullied, I would help them. I was friends with pretty much everybody, the smart kids, with everybody. But there's one kid in particular that haunts me to this day, and it'll haunt me every day for the rest of my life. And I've already reached out to this guy and apologized to him, and he told me it was cool. We're good now, but it's never going to be good in my mind. There was a kid in high school that got bullied relentlessly. Everyone treated him like shit. I can't imagine what it was like for this poor fucking kid to go to school every day when I look back on it now. And I joined in. I remember there was one day it was like a late bus or whatever the fuck it was. I can't remember. And the bus driver wasn't on the bus yet, and kids were all punching him, taking shots at him. I hit him a few times. And I am disgusted and embarrassed that I acted that way when I was young. And, there's nothing I can do to apologize to this kid. I mean, he, like I said, we talked through Facebook, and he accepted the apology. But, I've been the protector. I've been the bully. I've been bullied in my life. And, for any young people that may listen to the show, if you listen to it on download or whatever, instead of being a bully, stand up for the fucking kids that need help. I mean, there are kids in your school that are being bullied. There are kids in your school that sit alone. Don't let them sit alone. Don't be a coward. I was a coward.
I was gonna say something, John. I used to be a bully, and I was a bully in not elementary, but middle school. When I first got to 6th grade, I got bullied, and my uncle taught me so much karate, not just karate, ninjutsu, aikido, all kinds of stuff. And this kid kept bullying me, and I said, keep bullying me, and I'm going to beat the living fuck out of you. And he's like, you're not tough enough. So after school, we went in the back, right? And he was like, well, we're going to fight. So he pushed me. I was like, dude, I'm not going to fight you. And he's like, you're going to fight me. So what I did was he grabbed my arm, and when he grabbed my arm, I hit him with my forearm and my elbow, and I put like probably at least a 10-inch gash across his forehead, and it was split wide open, about 3 inches wide. And I felt like an asshole though, because that's not what I wanted to do.
Right.
So I literally took my shirt off, and I gave him my shirt, and I was holding his head and the thing against his head. That was the last time I ever bullied anybody.
Yep.
And then then it became like 7th grade, and then I was like, well, this is going to be fun. I'm going to bully people. So that's what I was figuring in 6th grade. I wasn't going to bully anybody, but no, I wanted to do it. So I started doing it. Then I decided after that, it was like, what the fuck am I doing? I stopped bullying everybody. I apologized to everybody. I started protecting these guys. And it was just like, everybody liked me. And it was just like, okay, Chuck's cool. He's not going to bully us anymore. And I didn't. I stopped. I completely stopped in like 7th grade. I quit. That was the last time.
It's funny you mentioned middle school, because middle school is where I got bullied. I got bullied to the point where, people would tell me, I should go home and kill myself because no one will ever love you. No one even cares that you're around. You just think me insignificant. They'd throw things at me as I was walking home. I mean, I had no friends, none. And I made maybe one friend while I was there. And to be honest, to be on that side of it, I never bullied anybody because I knew exactly what it felt like. So, I mean, to be on the other side, I can give you this, being the one that the bullies were bullying. All it did, I mean, at the time it sucked. And trust me, like I went home feeling like shit every day, and to have to get up and go to school and have to face them every single day was really hard. But what it did was it made me tough so that I could start to take life that way, because life is going to bully you.
Yep.
Life is going to treat you like shit. And if you can't handle it in some way, you'll never make it. So being bullied sucked at the time, and I hated those people at the time for it. And I hated myself at the time for it, but I got through it. And the fact that I got through it just tells me that I can get through anything that life's going to, hand me, that anything that life is going to bully me into. So to be honest with you, a lot of times the people that you're bullying will forgive you because you were a part of what made them who they are today.
Right.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't be as humble, or they wouldn't be as understanding, or they wouldn't be as kind to other people because now they know what it's like. So it's kind of like the bullies feel bad later on. They get it. But the person you're bullying, you have to understand they too get it eventually.
Eventually, I think it's so hard when you're kids and you go through that type of stuff. I mean, for me, I think the few times that I did bully, a lot of it came from my upbringing, where I grew up in kind of a shitty house. My father was an ass, and I ended up getting bullied at home. So there were days when I took it into school with me.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
Yeah. I don't know. It's hard, and I didn't expect to get on this route with the interview, but I mean, it's good to hear. I think it's good for other people to hear this stuff too. And even, if there are kids listening to the different things, I mean, all of us, even adults, have been through this shit in our lives. And if you are going through a difficult time in your life, it does get better. It does eventually get better if you can hang in there. And you're right about being tough, because I mean, life is about being tough. And as a parent, for me, I raised my 4 kids, and I think I'm a decent dad. I fuck up a lot like everybody else does, but I show them love, but I'm also strict, because I realize that if they are not tough when they get older, they are going to be walked on by life and by society. So I'm trying to raise confident, not entitled, but also tough kids that when they're up against it, they can fight through things instead of crumbling and falling apart like you hear about a lot of the the young snowflakes that are being raised today. And you kind of because you have to be tough. Now, how old are you guys both? I know your age, Chuck. You can say it again. And Billy, how old are you roughly?
I'm 45.
Right.
I'm gonna be. Well, yeah, Chuck. If you're 45, see, I'm gonna be 40 in April.
Jeez.
So.
You guys were
finally at the big 4-0 finally.
Yeah, old fuck.
Go ahead. Trust me, it gets worse. I'll trade with you any day of the week. Man, I'm an old fuck. I still can't believe it. I'm 52 years old. It's like, what the fuck happened to my 40s? If you think the 30s went by quickly, wait till your 40s go by. They go by even faster. It's just crazy. Next thing it's funny. The good thing about 40, and I'll say this to you now, is the 40s. You can still kind of rationalize that you're kind of young. You're like, all right, I'm in my 40s. That's not so bad. I'm not super old yet. Dude, when you hit 50, it's fucking over. You are fucking old. You can't rationalize it.
I can't rationalize my 40s at all. It's like, why do I feel like I'm 70?
I'm 40. I can either date you or your mom.
My kids make fun of me. I'll sit I get a nice leather recliner. I sit back watching whatever it is, sports TV, whatever. And then when I get up from the recliner, for the first 10 or 15 steps, I do like my old man little steps. And I do, because I'm all tight. So I get up and I do like these little steps across the family room. And my kids all laugh at me. I'm like, don't make fun of the old man. Someday you're going to be old too. And I see the old man just came in, so he can maybe talk about the old man little steps, but I do those also. So it's kind of crazy. So now both of you guys, did you guys both go to college? Did you go to work right out of high school? What happened after high school?
Jesus.
Well, actually, it's funny. In my senior year, I was hanging out with Chuck a lot.
Okay.
And it was October, and I was at Chuck's house, and something awful happened, and I lost someone really close to me, and then after that, just kind of my senior year kind of went downhill. I ended up not graduating from high school because I missed a lot of high school that year. After losing somebody, and then having a few other personal family problems, so I missed too many days and I couldn't catch up. So I ended up having to kind of quit. Well, they told me I could quit and then re-enroll. So basically, they wanted me to stay back, but they didn't put it that way. They said, well, you could you could quit today or quit and then re-enroll the next year, or you could go through summer school. But back then, we had to pay for summer school, so there was no way I'd be able to do it. We couldn't afford it. And my pride got in the way. So I was like, well, I'm not going to come back to a school that tells a kid it's okay to quit, So I ended up quitting high school, but I got my GED when I was roughly 30 years old, believe it or not. I actually had to take a couple classes to refresh my memory on how to do the math problems that they have. So I got that, and then I went. I took a few semesters of college, and then I ended up not enjoying that at all. It wasn't this course of study that I wanted to do. So I just kind of, I was working. I used to work 2-3 jobs at a time. And then when I was 36, I came into an opportunity. Since I was little, I always wanted to be a firefighter. So
nice.
This opportunity presented itself, and I took it. And I went to the Massachusetts Firefighting Academy. And being 36 and going to the firefighting academy, it was difficult.
You're a little bit older guy going. I'm sure you got a lot of 20, 21, 22-year-old kids.
19, they were 18, 19, 20-year-olds, and there was a little group of us that were, older, that were, late 30s, 40s.
Right.
And there was one guy that was almost 50 years old that was taking the academy, and this was the call volunteer. So it was only 3 days a week, and then the weekends. But it was just as tough. And I couldn't believe that I could do it. I got through it, got my certificate for firefighter 1 and 2 and hazmat OLR, and just went from there. And I've been, volunteering my time since then, since 2017. Nice. But it was really cool that finally, something like that had finally presented itself to me. So after that, I've been doing that, but I have a plan to go back to school next year. So.
Well, I mean, now I imagine being a firefighter, because I'm actually very good friends in my town. I live in Rutland, Mass, right near Worcester. So I'm very good friends with one of the firefighters in town. We hang out all the time. And he talks about, you can get involved in some pretty scary situations. Now, have you been involved in any, big fires, anything that was really scary for you to go into, or?
Yeah, I think every single one of our emergency calls can be scary because you don't know what you're gonna walk into. But yeah, I've been in a couple of structure fires and to a couple of scenes where it was pretty questionable. And I've been there to support other firefighters who have seen even worse. So I mean, I think that no matter what you're going to run into as a first responder, it's still a traumatic experience, even if you don't feel like it is at the time, because you can see somebody at their very worst after an accident, or they lost everything in their home, and that's a traumatic experience for them. So, it's definitely traumatic for a first responder. Sometimes we don't show it. Sometimes it doesn't come till later. I've been to where ODs, and those are really hard. And you can bring them back, but sometimes you lose. Sometimes you lose them. And when you lose somebody, it doesn't matter if you know them or not. It's a hard thing to get through.
Yeah, that's something my wife deals with that all the time. My wife's in the medical field also, and she a lot of times has patients that end up, dying, and she comes home and, probably doesn't show too much at work, but she comes home and cries, and it's really hard for her. And kind of a funny story to throw onto that. Now, when my kids were little, they were really little, she'd be on call all the time on weekends. She's a doctor, so she'd be on call over the weekends. And there were times, I remember one time in particular, we told the kids we were going to go out and look at Christmas lights. So we went out for a ride. In actuality, we were bringing her to a place where she had to declare somebody dead. So we literally put the kids in the car. They were little, and we're like, all right, let's go look at the Christmas lights, kids. And we drove there, and we pulled into the building, and we said to the kids, like, all right, mommy just has to go in here for a second. She'll be right out. So she came out like 20 minutes later. We never told them. And it was funny. Now that they're older, we told them the story. Like, some of those rides we took, we were actually bringing mom to declare people dead at sites and things like that. And, not a funny situation when it happened, but when the kids learned that when they were older, they were like, holy shit, they used to bring us to that. I'm like, yeah, well, mom needed to go. And, we all went together and all that stuff. But yeah, man, you're a hero. Being anyone that is willing to either walk into a building where there's a fire, where you're putting your life on the line to save other people, to save a structure, to save pets, whatever it may be, you're a hero. I feel the same way about police officers. If you're willing to leave the house every day and you're willing to put your life on the line, you're a hero in my book. I mean, so for me, anyone that has the balls enough to run into a burning building, I mean, that's a special type of courage that not too many people have. And I actually experienced a fire. I don't even know, probably 20 years ago now. I had owned a house near Boston, and I sold it. And then I moved into an apartment for a couple of years before I moved out here where we live now. And when I was away for business, my apartment burned down. I had no renters insurance, had nothing, and lost everything I owned. But I mean, literally the building, completely burnt down. And the amazing thing was, I had at the time, the apartment couldn't have dogs, so I had 2 cats. The firefighters actually went into the apartment, was up on the 3rd floor in the middle of this burning building, rescued my cats, and they were actually on the cover of the. Sorry, my dogs are barking. I was muted for a second. But yeah, so actually, on the front of the newspaper, they actually had my little cats with little oxygen masks on their faces on the front of the paper. So my cats in town were famous for being rescued in the place. But man, definitely unreal that you're a firefighter. That's a really brave thing to do. Now I see Chuck said something. He's going to answer next. Go ahead, Chuck. What do you got for us?
I didn't graduate high school. I was expelled because I knocked my teacher's teeth through the back of his throat.
Holy shit. How did that happen? Tell us the story. What happened?
I was told to go upstairs and take a test because I missed a test like a week ago because I was sick. So I was like, all right. So my teacher tells me go upstairs, sit in the little desk chair that's sitting outside of my office. I said, all right, cool. So I go upstairs and I'm with one of my friends, my friend Vinny. And he's standing there with me and he's waiting because he had to take the same thing. So I'm sitting in the desk chair and this teacher comes up. He's like, what are you doing in here? And I was like, I'm waiting to take a test. He's like, it's lunchtime. You're not supposed to be up here. I was like, I was told to come up here. He's like, get the fuck out of the chair. And this is exactly how he's talking to me. No joke. I was like, don't swear at me. I'm just sitting here waiting for my teacher to come so I can do a test. He's like, get out of the fucking chair. He rips me out of the chair, like grabs me and pulls me out of the chair. He slams me against the locker, which has a lock on it, which hit me right in the middle part of my spine. Oof. And it like hurt. And I hit him so hard. He dropped to the floor and there was blood everywhere. I split his nose right down the middle and I busted like 3 of his teeth out of his mouth. And I stood there and my friend Vinny stood over him and was, you just got knocked the fuck out. Like, my God. So we went to leave. We went to walk out just the door.
Next Friday.
Yeah, exactly. I went to walk out the door. He grabs me again while he's holding his face and pushes me down the stairs. I almost fell. I grabbed the railing. I went at him again, and he like literally went behind the door and held the door because he knew I would have punched him again. So I went downstairs. I got suspended. I suspended at first. Then I got a call from the, I think it was the school board or something like that, said I was expelled from the school I was going to. I was expelled from any school in Massachusetts. I wasn't allowed to go anywhere because I'm very, very violent. Wow. I was like, what? I was like, I get expelled, but you don't do nothing to him. He's okay. He can keep his job. That's awesome.
How is it okay that the teacher put his hands on you and you defended yourself and the teacher wasn't disciplined, but you were? That doesn't seem right.
Exactly. So I tried to fight it, and I went to the school board. I was like, this is ridiculous. He put his hands on. I showed him the huge bruise I had on my back. And what I was told, this is exactly what the board said to me. There's like three people sitting in front of me, like judges. I call them judges or bitches. And I lift up my shirt and I show him. I was like, that's what he did to me. He slammed me into a locker. He's like, oh, you could have got that from anything. Are you fucking kidding me?
Wow. That's crazy.
So I didn't go back. And I went to get my GED, and it got to the point where it was like a pain in the ass where I was going. It just kept taking longer and longer and longer. I was like, I have no fucking patience. I'm like John, I have no fucking patience. So I didn't bother. I just didn't bother. I still want to do it. Don't get me wrong. I still definitely am going to do it. But just where I was going was, it just drove me nuts. And he wasn't teaching me right. He was like, didn't want to help me with anything. And I was like, fuck this. I can't do it. I don't have no patience for this shit. So I left. And I got sick of it. And I wish I didn't leave, but if it's taken longer, I was there for 2 years and it got me nowhere. So what the hell was the point of continuing?
Hey, man. I mean, school to me, school just like college. I mean, for me, I went to high school, was an average student at best. And the only reason I went to college was because I was 6'4", 245 pounds my senior year in high school. And I got scholarship offers for football everywhere because I could knock people down. So if you think about that, it had nothing to do with my grades. It had nothing to do with my academic ability. I was good at knocking people down. So that apparently got me into college. So I got a full scholarship to college for football, 4 years of college. I took basically communications classes where I could get up and give speeches. I'm good at that. So I didn't take any difficult courses. I played football for 4 years. Honestly, my grades were not great. I barely passed. And I thought about getting a master's degree, but I hated school all the way through. And I remember I got my transcript back from college. I graduated back in 90. And when I looked at my transcript, I was like, holy shit, how did I even graduate from this school? My grades were awful. The only thing I got out of high school and college were pieces of paper. I mean, in college, I lived 35 minutes off campus by the ocean. I was a football player. We had 2 fraternity brothers living with me and then a baseball player. So we had parties constantly. I never went to class. All I did was drink my way through college, and I did a lot of that, trust me. And, I don't know. I mean, for me, did I really learn anything in college? Probably not. But I had that little piece of paper, and the little piece of paper, at least it made me look like I had some credibility, which I really did. When it came down
I went to high school, first day of high school. When I got out of middle school, first fucking day, I get suspended. First day. Okay? Because you ever seen the movie Spaceballs?
Oh, of course, like a million times.
Okay.
Absolutely.
We had a teacher, no joke, named Miss Schwartz. Okay? And the first thing I said, right in the front row, was like, Miss Schwartz, be with you. And I'm like, oh, she's like, get the fuck out. I was like, holy shit, it was a joke. Like that, she's like, get the fuck out of my class. I was like, all right, so I got out. And my friend Vinny does the same fucking thing just so he can get kicked out and be with me. I was like, what the fuck? So we leave. We went to go down the principal, like she told us. So we went down to the principal. He's like, why'd you guys, first day of school, guys? Really? I was like, yeah, all I said was, may the Schwartz be with you. She's like, looks at me and he goes, are you fucking kidding me? I was like, it was a joke. He's like, okay, you're suspended for the day. I was like, what the fuck? It was a joke.
Yeah.
We both got kicked out.
No, I had, I'll make it a quick story, but this is kind of funny. I had this biology teacher who, I went to an all boys Catholic school, which was awful, but I went to the school and I had this biology teacher. I won't say her name, but she was pretty hot. And honest to God, she used to sit up on a stool in the front of the class. She always wore skirts. And I think you know where this is going. She was known throughout the school for putting everything on display to all the kids. So everyone talked about this teacher. Everybody, if you went, if you talk to anybody in the 10 years in which I went to school there, people before me, people after me, they would all tell you the same thing about this teacher. So it was funny. I sat in the front of the class on purpose, and I remember I would get in trouble every day. And I remember her moving me to the back row of the class. And so I was in the back. So fast forward like 25 years later, she retired, and there was a special story about her. She was featured in the school book that comes out. So I'm sitting there reading. I'm like, oh, look, Miss So-and-so is a story about her. So I start reading through the story, and she talks about over her 35 years of teaching, there was one student that stuck out in her mind as to someone that she didn't know how to deal with him and didn't know how to, basically get the most out of him. So eventually someone gave her the suggestion, move him from the front row and put him in the back row. And I'm like, I show this to my wife. I'm like, I swear to God, this is me. She's talking about me because I was a nightmare in that class. I got in trouble all the time, and it was just nonstop. So I think I was actually the worst student she had ever had in 30 years, and she put it in writing. So
that's what happened to me and Vinny. We were in this class. I can't stand this guy anyway, so I'm going to say his name. His name was Mr. Byron. He didn't teach us shit.
I didn't know that
Talked
guy.
about. I hated that fucker.
Some teachers are just terrible.
It's weird, dude. I had a
teach
teacher
us-
named Mrs. Schwartz too, by the way.
Schwartz.
She was
really?
a health
Well,
teacher.
He would talk.
She was angry.
talk-
Her Schwartz was as big as hers.
Yeah. Mr. Byron would always talk about his life stories. He's supposed to be doing social studies. He's not teaching us
I
a
remember
fucking
that.
thing about him. And I'm like, what the fuck? So me and Vinny are sitting in the back of the room, and I'm like, are you gonna teach us anything, or are you just gonna run your fucking mouth about your fucking life story? So this is what I'm saying. Vinny looks over at me and goes, dude, what the fuck is wrong with you? I was like, I'm sick of this. I want to learn something. We're not learning anything. And he goes, you shut your fucking mouth. I picked up, that desk they used to have where it was attached to the chair?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I threw it. I picked it up and threw it at him. I was like, you're a fucking worthless teacher. And I get walked out. And he calls the principal to come get me. I was already gone. I was fucking wandering out the door. I was leaving. So he comes out and he's like, hey, Mr. Chuck, get your ass over here. I was like, Jesus fucking Christ. So I walk out. I was like, look, if you're going to hire teachers, hire fucking teachers that teach you something. He's talking about his life. I don't give a fuck about his life. I don't want to know about anything he has to fucking talk about. And he's like, well, if that's what he's doing, then I'm going to have to sit in on his class. I was like, if you sit in on his class, he's going to talk about social studies, dumbass. It's like, what's the point? So I said, fuck it. I went home. I wasn't going to say, fuck that shit. I'm done.
Yeah, now, since you were brave and you mentioned names, I felt bad about mentioning a name, so I definitely won't mention my teacher's name. That was Miss Cook. So I'll kind of let that. Oh wait, I remember the one time I got suspended in her class. Now she, like I said, she would sit up in front of the class and she would give everybody a show, and everybody in the school would love her class. I mean, she was a lousy teacher, but who cared? Because again, to keep in mind, there were no boys in the school. She was relatively attractive, and she gave all the boys a show, which was kind of creepy if you think about it today.
Was it a pole show?
Oh no! She would just sit up on that chair, and she felt like she came into the world, man. She would just sit there, and everyone would be like, because those front few seats were the ones to get, and you never have a class where you want boys who want to sit in the front row. You always want the back row. You'd have boys in the front row in this class because then you got the best view. But I remember I got sent to the back of the class, so I was sitting in the back of the class, and you probably remember doing this. It was so fucking stupid, but I was in high school, so I remember. I started pretending in the back of the class that I was masturbating. So I had on the end of my finger, and I'm sitting in the back of the class with my left hand going, oh, Mrs. Cook, oh, Mrs. Cook. And then I start flicking the spit up in the air with my middle finger. Oh, Mrs. Cook, you got me there, baby. Of course, she all my friends are laughing, get the fuck out of my room. I got suspended for like 3.5, 4 days. Now, the killer about my school is when I went to Central Catholic, this was the worst thing about getting suspended. I mean, you get your 3 days in school suspension, but then you had to make up every hour of class time you missed with a 1 hour detention. So if I got suspended for 3 days and I missed 18 hours of class time, that's 18 detentions tacked on to the end of that. You had to go on every day. So, if you got suspended, you were doing time for the rest of your life, unfortunately. So. But anyway, I don't want to go into too many stories about me, but Chuck, I want to ask you, and then I want to speak to more about Billy because we need to learn more about him also. But now, talk about you starting your motorcycle club. You're the president of a motorcycle club, Chuck. Now, Billy, are you a biker also? Do you ride as well?
I love it, but I haven't had a bike and ridden in a long time. But I know all about Chuck's riding club, and I actually was a little bit of a part in helping him with that.
Right.
I'll let him tell you about it.
Chuck, do you ride a Suzuki or a Honda?
I ride a 200 horsepower piece of shit. No,
that's what I thought, right? Maybe a Harley. You got some, maybe?
I have a Harley, but
yeah. I'm a go, man. Love Harleys. I've never had a Harley, but I love them. Beautiful bikes.
It's not a dirt bike, that's for sure. Anyways, yeah,
He rides a BMW. Don't let him fool you.
That
Yeah,
doesn't
it's a
surprise me. I can see that.
it's
He's a
a-
Parler.
It's a cop bike.
It's a Royal Enfield. I was I got into the biker scene because my uncle, he was a huge biker. He had his own motorcycle club when he lived in Massachusetts, and we used to have bikers always hanging on our front lawn. And I was probably like 6 years old, and I was like, "Oh, this is fucking cool! I love this. These guys are the greatest." You know, just seeing their vests and their patches. I always wanted one, and he used to let me wear his all the time. And he said that he's like, one of these days you're gonna have this. And I was like, I'm gonna have what? And I'm fuck he's talking about. I'm 6 years old. He's like, you're gonna have this vest, and you're gonna have a bike, and you're gonna have your own club. I was like, yeah, whatever.
Nice.
At 6 years old, you just want to fucking play with your cars in the dirt and get fucking dirty.
You just don't get that.
Yeah, exactly.
At 6.
And it became to the point where I lost touch with my uncle for a long time. I mean, I tried to get a hold of him. I tried to get a hold through my cousins, which is their, father and stuff like that. But, I finally got a hold of him, and I was like, oh my God, how you doing? He's like, great. He's like, you got a fucking club yet? I'm like, no. He's like, what the fuck are you doing? Give me shit. Okay. And he started his own chapter of the American Legion Riders in Florida. I can't remember the number, but I think it was like 9 something, or I can't remember. Then it came to the point where it was like in 2018, he fell off a ladder and just basically got paralyzed. He hit the ground, and he had diabetes because he was losing his balance. And he went into the hospital, and my cousin called me. God damn it. Went to the hospital, and my cousin called me and said, your uncle's in the hospital. And I was like, oh, what happened? She said, oh, he fell off a ladder. I didn't think anything of it. Nothing. I just figured, okay, he's going to be fine. It's my uncle. He's a tough guy. Well, it got a little worse than that. I got to talk to him on video chat, and he wasn't moving very well. I mean, he was talking and stuff like that, but he said, he's like, I want you to start a motorcycle club before I pass. And I was like, you're not passing. What the fuck are you talking about? He's like, no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying before I pass, if anything happens to me. Oh, okay. I was like, all right, well, I'm trying my best. I said, me and my friend, Billy, he's trying to help me out too. And he's like, "Oh, that's good. He's like, "But get that shit going. I want you to get it going." I said, "I am. I'm pushing buttons and doing what I got to do." So finally, I got approval to wear my patch and to actually have the entire logo and the colors and everything. And I was like so fucking happy. I wanted to tell him. Well, the problem was I couldn't tell him is because he went into a coma 3 days after I talked to him. And I couldn't tell him anything. And I told my cousin, I said, well, if he wakes up, can you let him know that I got my club? It's all situated. And I sent her a picture of my patch and everything. And she was like, oh my God, it's so awesome. And I went to sleep, woke up the next morning and find out he passed away at 3:00 in the morning. And it broke me. Like, it fucked me up. And, sorry.
That's okay. I get it. It's hard to talk about things like this. I know.
And she's like, yeah, absolutely. She showed it to him, but he didn't see it. And I made a patch just for him on the side of my vest that says "Rest in peace, Uncle Frank," and it's got wings, and it's got when he was born and when he passed. And she loves it. And I sent her one, and she's got one now. And it was rough for me. It was like wicked rough. And it was just after he passed, my brother died of a heart attack. And then after my brother died of a heart attack, I lost one of my good friends I knew since I was probably like 17 years old. And he died in a car accident. And it was like, what the fuck? And I had 3 deaths in less than 4 months. Right in a row.
Brutal. That's a tough period of time, man. I'm sorry to hear that.
It's bad. It's really bad.
I think that's what Billy was talking about, though, also, where, you need to be tough in life because, you're gonna end up with periods of time in your life that just kick you in the balls over and over again. And it sounds like you had one of those, periods of time there. But I mean, the positive is you got this motorcycle club now that you're very proud of, and you should be. I mean, that's a huge accomplishment. Now, how many members of your club do you have?
I have about 30.
Wow.
Yeah.
And for those of you that are out there, I don't know how many people we have out there that are bikers or know, guys on Harleys. I grew up with a lot of guys on Harleys up in New Hampshire. And, sometimes you look at them and they're scary looking dudes with the beards, the tats, whatever. But I'll tell you, you have never been to a party until you've been to a Harley party. They are the best fucking parties on the face of the earth. And you will honestly never find a more inclusive group of good people that hang out with you, and it is just a good group of people. I'm sure your group's the same way. I mean, I remember going to parties up in New Hampshire, and Harley guys are just great guys. And the women that go along with the groups also are just awesome people,
Well, here we can't do anything. We can't hang out with anybody. We can't hang out with each other. It's because they want everybody away from each other here. So they're trying to stay safe. So I haven't hung out with them since I've been back. I talk to them, but I don't get to ride with them or hang with them or anything like that, because if the cops see you riding together, they're going to pull you over and send you the fuck home. They're not going to let you do anything. So we're just being respectful. So we can't do anything. It kind of sucks, but it's.
I hear you.
Life,
That's brutal. Well, I'll tell you, we owned a condo up in New Hampshire for a while, right near Weirds Beach. I'm sure you know about Laconia Bike Week up in New Hampshire. It's a big bike week.
Oh, yeah.
And, my wife and I are bikers, so we would rent our place out that week every year. And we had a group of 4 guys that would rent out our place. And one of them was, I guess, a state trooper or whatever. And I'd never met him. I met him via the ad, and we talked to the phone. They seemed like good guys, so I rented the place to them. They rented our place, I think, for like 6 or 7 years before we sold it, every year for Bike Week. And we would come back to the place. It was spotless. It was unbelievable, how clean they would leave the place when they came back. And they, I didn't know until like a year or 2 after we rented the place that the 4 guys were all Hell's Angels up in the area. So it was funny. One of the neighbors said to us, like, have you seen the guys that rent your condo? I'm like, no, I've never met them in person, but they seem like good guys. He's like, yeah, they're Hell's Angels. They're big, badass guys, but they are the coolest, nicest guys you could ever imagine. And honestly, I remember thinking to myself, hey, Taz, that, I couldn't be happy to rent to these guys. No one's going to fuck with our condo when you get 4 Hells Angels renting the condo out. But a quick story, I've told this before, but one year, one of the bikers after Bike Week called me. He's like, hey, dude, he goes, is the key still up there? Because I would put the key out in a box, a magnetic box for him. Is the key still up there? Has anybody been? I lost something. I need to go back up. And I'm like, well, listen, it's Thursday night. I'm going up in the morning. We're spending the weekend there with my family. If you want to just tell me what it is, no one's been in there. I'll just get it and give it back to you, whatever. And he goes, well, yeah, I guess I could do that. Maybe. He goes, yeah, let me think about it. So I was like, well, what did you lose? He goes, well, we lost $10,000.
Oh, shit.
Like, holy shit, dude. $10,000. I'm like, where was it? In between the mattresses in the master bedroom. My first thought was, I'm not renting the condo for enough if they're bringing home $10,000 from Bike Week. But apparently they were selling T-shirts for charity. And that's what they told me anyway. T-shirts for charity, whatever else maybe they were selling. Not my business. But if it worked out that his girlfriend actually had the money. Now, I don't know what she was thinking, taking $10,000 worth of cash out from between the mattresses and not telling her boyfriend. But she luckily had the money. But that just caught me by surprise. I'm like, 10 grand. Holy shit. I got to get my ass up there and start selling T-shirts or something for the bike.
Yeah, about it.
Hey, Billy, we've been hearing a lot about Chuck, and I know Chuck a little bit better than I know you. Tell us some more stuff about you. Tell us about your life. Are you married with kids now? Are you single? What's going on with you in your life? Like, just tell us some more about you.
No, I was married. I'm not anymore. No kids. So just been kind of cruising through life for a little bit. And, I had a major tragedy a couple of years ago myself. So, trying to been getting through that for the last couple of years and recovering from it. And it's been kind of a hellish couple of years, but I've learned a lot. And I've also, discovered old friends and made some new ones and I've been trying to enjoy what I can right now. But I was at work couple of years ago and I was cruising through. I was loving it. I loved every minute of it. And I was actually a cable installer. So one of the aspects of the job is climbing up a pole and affixing the line to the pole.
Right.
Well, one of the poles that I climbed after testing it, I tested it and it was okay. And I put my ladder up, climbed it, started doing work, and down underneath in the ground, it broke.
Oh,
and
shit.
I fell 25 feet to the ground.
Wow.
And yeah, I broke a whole bunch of bones and had some surgeries and had to go through about 10 months of physical therapy. And, it was really difficult, really difficult, very painful, but, got home after being in the hospital for about 17 days. I was on a walker. So like I'll make fun of people, but it'll be me that I'm making fun of most of the time because I was on a walker when I got home. And you know what? My walker was pretty fucking cool because it had brakes on it and it had a seat on it. So if I wanted to go anywhere, I could go wherever the fuck I wanted to. And if I got tired, I could just sit down on that seat. And I used to keep all my shit inside the seat would pop up and it had a little pocket in there. And I put all my stuff in there. So like I walked halfway down the street and didn't have to go home because I got tired. But I worked my way up and ended up graduating to a cane. And I got like a special, like I ordered a special cane because I had to be special. So I ordered like a special cool like fold out cane that I could just like whip out and be like, that's cool right.
Shit. You just kind of like shake them and the whole thing comes out, right? I've seen those before. Those are freaking awesome.
Yeah, I just whipped it out. I was just like, yes, woof. And and then I could walk. And I ended up, working my way up. I at least try to get to the mailboxes, and then I started walking towards town, and then finally, I was able to get downtown for a little bit, and I would just sit at the general market, which we have a public market. It's called here where I live, and the town's really small. It's West Stockbridge, Mass.
Oh, okay, so, it's not a great town, beautiful town. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. It's small. And it's easy. It's easier to walk downtown. Yep. So I got down there. I would go down to the public market, grab a sandwich, sit down, and take a break and eat the sandwich. So that was in 2019. So after a while, I could do without the cane, and then it was still hobbling, still very difficult. I broke everything in my pelvis. So, and I smashed the cup that your femur kind of comes up and sits in.
Fuck.
It's called an acetabulum. So I smashed that up, and then I ripped a tendon off my shoulder, which they had to go in and anchor to the bone. So, Jesus. So I had a lot of injuries, but the only thing that could help was just I had to keep moving.
Yep.
So I just kept moving, and I kept trying to make sure I kept going because I just didn't want to be stuck up. I was 38 at the time. 38 at the time, I think. Yeah, 38, 37. I think I was 37. Because I'm 39. So, I was like, I'm way too young to, sit and do nothing. So I tried to keep moving. And of course, I kept going to physical therapy. And I kept trying to go like massage therapist to work out some of the other issues that it caused. And I'm still getting residual issues. So unfortunately, my life completely changed in a matter of 30 seconds. I mean, I lost my family after that. My wife and I split up, and I had lost everything at that point. I couldn't work, and life just went at a complete halt. And I didn't know what my future was going to be like. So I didn't know what was going to happen. Yeah, but things are slowly starting to kind of fall into place now. I'm able to actually start planning for a future. I mean, I went through a lot of stuff with that, and physically and emotionally. So, talking about being tough for life, that's what I meant. When you're in middle school, when I was in middle school, and people were bad to me, it just toughened me up, and life really handed me a curveball that year, and I'll never ever forget it. Every second of that day. So since then, I've just been rolling through life, and I think that's when just recently, I was going through some emotional issues, and that's when Chuck was he's reaching out to me, and he's like, yeah, I know I've been bothering you about this podcast for a couple of years, and I know you've been busy and stuff, and he's like, but we really should do it. And I finally said, you know what, screw it, I'm going to do it, bro. And so we started doing it in October, and honestly, it's a great outlet, and it helped me get through that those few emotional episodes I was having. Over the summer, I actually, it's funny. Over the summer, I did fall back into love with somebody, but it's sort of a Shakespearean story, so that was bothering me, and now I'm just occupied, so it's helping a lot, and I'm grateful.
You still with this person now? You still with this person?
I'm not. No, unfortunately.
Okay, that happens. It happens. So, but man, so how are you doing?
Love her, though.
I mean, how are you feeling today? I mean, physically. Jesus.
Sure, you want to tell him, Bill?
Oh God. No, I'm good. I'm good. It comes and goes. Each day is different, so I don't know if I could wake up and it could be a bad day, and I'll know it. Or most days I wake up and I'm like, okay, I can do this, and the day goes on and I'm fine. And summertime when it's nicer out, let's say the cold and this rain that we're having today is it doesn't help. But when it's nice out, I can be a little more active. I like to try and take as many walks as I can. I also do a little photography, so I'll go out walking and I'll take pictures because like you said, West Stockbridge is beautiful.
It is.
So you go out and you start walking around, and I can find just beautiful places to take amazing pictures, and that really helps too, because it just reminds you what how beautiful life is. All this bad shit that's going on in the world today, there's still beauty in it. So you have to look beyond all the bad shit, and you got to look at what's actually there.
Hey, let me ask you this now. I accidentally cut you off as you were saying that. You said you're still in love with this person. Any chance of this thing getting back on track, or is it over?
Honestly, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go with the flow.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I don't want to spend too much time. If you spend too much time on it, you only overthink it and then push it all away. So just go with the flow.
If it's meant to be, it'll happen. I am a firm believer that there is a plan for you. I mean, you look at me now. I've got 4 kids. My oldest is 18. I didn't get married till I was 33. Didn't have first kid till I was 35. Last kid at 41. I mean, you never know what path you're going to be on. And I didn't get. I always tell people, they ask me, why'd you wait so long to get married? I'm like, well, I was having too much fun in my 20s. I didn't want to get married. I was out fucking around, having a blast. And the next thing you wake up in your 30s and you're like, all right, now I'm the old guy at the bars. It's not quite as fun anymore. But when you were telling the story of the walker, I think this would make you laugh a little bit. My father-in-law, this isn't the funny part of the story, but my father-in-law had a heart attack a couple of years ago, and then he had triple bypass surgery and had to live with us for a couple of months. So he moved in with us, and believe me, I could tell you some stories about how difficult that was. He's a good guy, but could be a difficult guy to live with sometimes. But he needed one of those bath chairs, like a shower chair, because he couldn't stand up in the shower. So he had that thing, and he eventually got better, and eventually moved out, and eventually went to Florida. And I remember walking into the bathroom one day, seeing that bath chair sitting out on the floor, outside of the tub, and I'm like, I kind of like to sit down in the tub. I don't know if I should have that thing in there or not. So I've moved it into the shower, and for the last year now, I'm using the old man sit down bench in the shower. And my wife keeps taking it out. She keeps looking at me going, what the fuck is wrong with you? That is like an old man chair for someone that can't stand up in the shower. But I'm sorry. I like my old man chair. And I bring my old man chair into the fucking shower. And I sit on that bad boy every time I take a shower. And I'm proud of it. So now that you mentioned you had a walker with a seat, I feel like I can come out and tell everybody that I have sat in an old man bench, right? Badass. Thank you.
Exactly.
He's got a cup holder.
Things, I'll tell you what, those things are amazing.
I put my beer in that motherfucker.
He's not coffee while you're washing your balls.
He's not kidding though. Those things. I mean, that was the best thing. That was the best thing that probably one of the best things they gave me was the shower chair. I'm like, man, I don't have to stand.
Right. I mean, why the hell am I going to give it up? It's there. I can sit on it. No one has to know. Now, I guess everybody that ever listens to my podcast now knows, but no one that I know in town knows. But see, I got to be careful of that. I've been saying things on Podbean here. And when you do this, I'm sure Taz, you might feel like this too, where I say things on Podbean, and I'm like, yeah, no one in town listens to me, whatever. So I was at a baseball game in town, one of the Little League games, and this guy comes up to me, oh, dude, I heard your show the other day. You were saying this. And I'm like, oh, fuck, I got to remember that maybe some people in this town do occasionally hear that I have a podcast and they actually listen to what I say. So at that point, I'm like, all right, I have to be very careful of the things I say on here because people are actually hearing it. It's not just this little funnel of Podbean people that hear the show. So I don't know. So, hey, now why did you guys decide on doing the podcast? Your podcast, as I've told people, is funny as fuck. I love it. You guys are hysterical together. And before we leave today, I want you guys to do a skit or two for everybody that's in here so they can hear some of the shit that you guys do in your show. But what made you guys get together and do this? And how'd you come up with the idea?
Oh, I've been asking them for 2 years, like I said 1,000 times. I came up with a logo like maybe a year and a half ago, and it's the same logo I've had forever because I love the logo. It's both of us in there, the little cup of tea with a skull. And I said, hey, this could be our logo. And then I came up with a few other ones, but me and Billy decided the Not Your Cup of Tea one is fucking perfect because we don't give a shit. So, and I kept bugging him. I knew he was hurt and everything, but I just kept pushing the issue. And I know he's probably home going, Jesus fucking Christ. I said, no, leave me the fuck alone. But I kept doing it. So I was like, all right, we're fucking doing this. I'm going to keep nagging you. I don't give a fuck. So I finally asked him again. He was like, well, we can only do it on Saturday. So we started doing it on Saturday.
Monday nights, I thought, right? We started.
Oh yeah, we started Monday.
Saturday was the first one.
Yeah, Saturday was the first
one.
Then
we started doing Mondays.
Yeah, then we started doing Mondays. Then it got to the point where I was like, I want to do another show. Bill's like, yeah, me too. I love this. So it just got to the point where like Bill's like, let's do it 3 days a week instead of one. I was like, all right. So we went to Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Then Bill had some things going on Wednesday, so we changed it from Monday, Thursday, and Friday. So we're on every few days and then of a week, and we are having a fucking blast. We do Night Caught News, which is every other Friday of the month. So that's one of our favorite shows to do because we love being our other personas. So
well, now, the time I had you guys on my show, we did that show, and holy shit, I literally laughed so hard. I mean, I was getting ready to piss myself. It was so funny. I mean, I was like wheezing in the background, laughing so hard. My wife's walking by me like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?"
So on February 18th, so everybody knows, we are going to interview John DiVito as Harry Box and Lou Skunt.
No,
I don't know if he's ready for
December.
that. Oh, December, my bad. So December 18th.
Can I go on there? Can I come in under my persona of Dick Hertz?
If you want to.
I want to be Dick Hertz. So if I can
be
Dick
Hertz,
interview me.
We'll be interviewing Dick Hertz as Harry Box and Lou Skunt. So there you go.
Oh my God, you guys are fucking crazy. So now, do you guys have any? If you could throw at people now, what do you? Let's do one of the games you do on the Not Your Cup of Tea podcast. Throw something out to everybody. And now, for those of you that have not been in, we need some audience participation. So you got to throw some things down in the box. No pun intended.
Well, we were gonna talk about Edna. I don't know if you've heard about Edna.
About what?
Edna. We have a woman. We have a woman we came up with on episode 6 called Edna Bertha Moans. Okay, that's her name. Okay, and she's a real humongous fat woman that rides in a cart at Walmart. Okay.
Industrial size carts. I've seen those things.
Okay, and she's so big. She wears a muumuu.
Ew.
And she has a piece of olive loaf stuck to her sleeve, to her pocket. Okay, and she rides around. She usually has babies dragging from the umbilical cord and some cream corn coming out of her crotch.
Look at Taz. I know she smells bad.
So
the folds of fat.
And the smell when she rides by the freezer section, like Billy said, the shrimp run and hide behind the pizza.
Frozen pizzas.
But the pizza is cooking from the smell inside of the freezer. Okay.
Yeah, so pepperonis are all falling off. The cheese is all melting down. It's all right inside the freezer. Freezer starts to, steam up a little bit, but the shrimp are still trying to hide behind the frozen pizza. So,
and she's so big. She talks. What was the voice idea? I was like, "Oh yeah, give me my stuff, you bastard." That's exactly how she talks.
I think I dated her.
Right
Honest
off
to
my
God.
mom.
Was it that 300-pound woman you were talking about?
Oh
This
my
bitch
God.
is like
Don't tell me
700.
that story again. Who knows how
And
much
it's got
I
full beard, it's
more than
more
that.
full.
See, so people do listen, John.
Don't make me think about that.
Yeah, so
now.
So we have Edna Bertha Moans. We have her daughter Katrina, who has kids, which are Daria and Cletus. Okay, Cletus is supposed to be black because apparently she said that her son is part black, but he's not. Okay, so she's mental. We have her husband.
Cletus.
What was her husband? Daryl Dean. Okay.
Daryl Dean.
He has a hole cut out of his overall so his belly can stick out. we have Daryl Dean, we have Cletus, and we have Grandpa Eunice. Okay, who has elephant
happening here? It sounds like a bunch of rednecks.
Oh yeah, it is. They're from Moose Knuckle, Louisiana. That's our name of our town.
Moose
So, so we have Grandpa Eunice, who has elephantitis in his left nut, which is not really bad. It looks like a small, tiny basketball in his pants.
When he's sitting on the porch, he puts his left nut on a chair next to him.
So if he was me, he'd need like a second shower chair, right? To put his
Oh yeah. And then
shower chair.
What
He's
else
got
do
the
we
shower
have?
bench.
a shower sectional.
Yeah. And it's got John DiVito's cup holder in it, and it's got so he can put his whiskey in there and take a sip.
Wow. Yeah, well, it was funny because after that episode, we jumped online and like we always do, just to kind of go over what we went over, and we just came up with an entire town. So that's how we came up with Moose Knuckle, Louisiana. Is like so we have names for everybody in that town. We have their jobs. We have a general store, we got a post office, we got a paper boy, and they're all from Moose Knuckle, and they're all a bunch of rednecks. And it's like
their dog. They have a dog, and he had a stroke, so one eye is open and one eye is closed, and he walks sideways. Yeah, he shakes and he walks sideways.
His name's
Tweakers. Yeah, we got Tweakers, and we have Father Marbles, who is a priest. But we're not sure what he does.
Now, is that like Father Brian? Is Father Brian Father Marble?
We're sure about what he does.
We have Clementine Britches. We have Clementine Britches, who is the whore of Moose Knuckle, along with her sister Ermine. So
Clementine,
a whole bunch, man.
Whore of Moose Knuckles.
We wanted to call it Moose Knuckle Falls because it kind of sounds funny, but
My God.
Oh. And now we were gonna do like a little thing. We usually do like phone sex operator voices when we talk about products, and we talk sexy when we do it. So like we were doing this one, and Billy out of the blue just says peach rings, and we both fucking lost it. I knew where he was going with it, and I could not stop laughing. We were laughing so fucking hard. He couldn't finish. I couldn't even talk. I was like, oh my God. So we do sexy talk, like when we say like Twinkies, because everybody wants cream filling, shit like that.
Honey Nut Cheerios,
unsalted.
Who doesn't want some honey on their nuts?
Do the Twinkie from unsalted?
Oh shit! Damn.
Oh man, you got.
Because who doesn't want to stick something long and white in their vagina?
Nerds, 2 flavors, 1 box.
Mounds. That just speaks for itself.
Mounds.
Almond Joys. Because sometimes you feel like a nut, and sometimes you don't.
We gotta have John do the sexy voice. You gotta do the sexy voice, John. It'll make it much better.
I don't know what to say, Chuck, but you're making me horny.
Oh shit! It's gonna be hard for John to get up now. So he's gonna pop a Woody for no apparent reason. Like, whew, this is crazy.
I'm gonna have to go sit in my shower chair and take care of this.
Oh yeah, then we did professions too. We were doing professions like carpenters. Why don't you come over here and check out my wood?
Yeah, or like, let me nail you, something like that.
Oh my God! So now let's go back to the priest. You said you had a priest in this town. Now, what was his name? Father what?
Father Marbles.
Now, now let me ask you some questions about Father Marbles. Now, I assume he wears the conventional priest garb. Does he go commando underneath the robe, or does he wear clothes? I mean, how does Father?
I'm not sure. You'd have to ask the altar boys.
That's true too. They know all.
Paperboy there.
Yeah,
You know, for
like
me,
Junebug.
in my family, I got 3 boys and a girl, and one of my sons I don't particularly like, so we made him the altar boy. We figured, he'll go there and get the attention he needs.
We don't like you. You're going.
That's right. And you stay after class for extra help.
Stay after. I promise nothing's gonna happen. Just stay after. Tell us the whole story when you come home.
Anything he asks you to do is normal. Don't worry. It's all good.
That sauna in his office is okay. I know there's no towels, but just go right on in.
You don't even have to wear clothes. It's fine.
Father might be tired after mass. Give him a good massage. Keep him happy. And, make sure it's a good ending.
Rub his shoulders, and if he tells you to bend over, you got to do it. Take it like a man.
Maybe he'll show you his boxers. The ones with the nuns on them and the bananas.
And like I said, I'm not going to communion ever again because you've got these priests that are, kind of perverted guys, some of them, and you've got these little white, thin, paper thin wafers, and I don't know what those motherfucking things are made of, but I've always thought that they could be priest cum wafers. So I'm not touching one of those cum wafers.
Yeah, that's what I said. They were cum wafers. They squirt on a metal fucking, like in the middle tray, and they cut it in squares, and then they kind of shape it with like a cookie cutter, and then they put it in the bowl. And you guys are like, this shit's salty. What's going on?
Right. And they look at you and they go, the body of Christ, So I mean, what else?
See, Chuck knows all this because he was in the back back kitchen helping him do it.
Yeah, I was. I was like, I'll help you with the cookie cutters, but I'm not eating this shit. And there's pubic hairs on them, and I don't know why.
350 degrees.
Yeah, they put they put pubic hairs on it as garnish. It's like, no.
They got like a gay baker back there, and they're like, here, try this. Make sure it's salty enough. Yeah,
Father O'Malley. That's why the hairs are red.
Yeah, this one tastes like Twinkies. Well, I ate a lot of Twinkies the other day. So.
Twinkies, because who doesn't like a cream filling?
Oh my God. See what you guys do to me. I have a family show and you guys come on and you freaking turn me down this dark path, this dark rabbit hole. I fucking love you guys. You guys are so goddamn funny. But I mean, for you guys are in here, this is where you get on the show, and I come in as much as I can. And these guys are great. They've known each other forever. So I guess, we've been at it for an hour and 20 minutes. I got to get back to work at some point. But if you guys want to tell us a little bit more about yourself, like if there are things out there you want people to know about each of you that we haven't touched on, Chuck, why don't you go first and we'll go to Billy. So tell us a little bit more about yourself and we'll start to think about wrapping this bad boy up.
About myself, like other things? Well, I do know, I don't know. I said, yeah, I'm a cookie cum wafer maker. Just kidding. I don't know. There's a few things I already said. Like I do know a lot of karate. I know ninjutsu, aikido, and some karate that my uncle taught me. I'm a biker. I'm a dick, major one when I want to be. And I've never. A lot of people don't know this about me, but I actually used to be a stand-up comic for like 3 years. I did a show in Boston. It was like almost like last comedian standing. Like they pay you for it. I came in second, which sucked. I should have won because the other dude was a fucking loser. Anyways, and I did one in New York. I won that one. I won $5,000 for that.
Wow.
And then I did it free, like for a year, and I just like chit chatted. I actually did the I can't remember the name of it. I think it was like the Improv place. I can't remember where was it?
Oh, in Boston?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, I did that one a couple times, and that's basically all I've ever done. I guess that's why I'm so fucking nuts. I really don't care. So
I'm the same way, man. If you want to do it, just fucking do it. Go without fear.
yeah.
If you want to be a comedian, get up there. If you get booed off stage, you get booed off stage. You want to do a podcast, fucking do a podcast. Have fun. Life's too short not to do the shit you want to do.
Yeah, that's the good thing, though. I never got booed off stage. I never had any hecklers. I don't know if you ever heard of Josh Blue, but I've been talking to him all day today to try and get him on our show. Josh Blue is a comedian that has cerebral palsy, and he's fucking hilarious.
Oh, I think I've seen him before. Yeah,
I've been talking to him all day. I've been talking to him all day, so I'm trying to get him on the show.
Folks like, yeah, don't adjust your TV. I actually have cerebral palsy or whatever. I think it's funny. Oh, now see, I've never been booed off stage, but my wife has booed me out of the bedroom before. I'm not sure what that means, but I've been booed out of the bedroom together. That kind of sucks.
It wasn't thick enough, John. Get out.
You said it was bigger. You said you were Italian.
I'm not gonna have you quit. I'm not gonna have you put cum wafers all over my back end. That's disgusting. Get out.
You may be Italian, but you're Irish from the waist down.
Yeah, you don't have any red hair, but I can see something else that's not coming out either.
Oh, yeah,
are you circumcised? No, I can't. What? No.
The carpet definitely matches the drapes.
Oh man. So, all right, Billy, how about you, man? So, tell us some more about yourself before we kind of wrap this bad boy up. Anything you got?
Well, I'm an Aries, and I love long walks on the beach.
Ooh.
And
the blood is flowing. That's all I can say. Ooh.
No, seriously. I come on here and
let's go back to those long walks on the beach, man. You don't live that far from me. We can head to Hampton. We'll walk the strip together, baby. We got this thing going.
We need hold my hand, John.
I will.
I'm a big hand.
When you guys should skip. That would look sexier. I was gonna say to Bill, when I come back to Mass, me and Billy should go meet John. Period.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Yeah, that would be.
That would meet you guys somewhere in between, whatever. We're not that far away. Absolutely.
No.
That would be sweet.
All right. Well, listen, go ahead.
I love this though. This is amazing.
Yeah, this has been. I mean, ever since we started, we have skyrocketed, and I never thought that would ever happen. We have 600 downloads in less than 14 days or 15 days.
Wow,
it's ridiculous.
Well, that's great. And, what I'll do is when I download this out there, I'll encourage everybody to tune into your show. And again, if they can't get you on Podbean, they can get you on one of the platforms and all that stuff because your show is fucking hysterical. So I enjoy it. I consider both of you guys good friends. I haven't met either one of you, but when you do get back to Massachusetts, let's all get together. I'll drive out and meet you guys somewhere. And trust me, I got 4 kids. I'm dying to get out of the fucking house. So if you guys give me an hour, 3 hours,
that's great.
Yep. All right, guys. Hey, Eric, do you have any questions? Do you have anything you want to say? You've been sitting up there on the panel. Do you have any questions for these guys before?
Nothing else I could think of, but I'm like, I made the comment like in the chat about like getting booed off the stage. You have to wonder if Sandman Sims from the Showtime at the Apollo would have to remove the bad X off the stage.
Now, John, if I was going to say one thing before you go, I was going to say, if you want to know how Edna Moans was born, episode 6, and it's near the end, and you're going to die. You're going to die. You're going to fucking die. I'm telling you. I can't stop laughing when I hear it.
And for those guys you haven't heard it, check it on one of the different platforms, episode 6. So I'm going to listen to that today, so I have it. And maybe, again, hopefully we can do another show soon. And we got to do another horror podcast also. We haven't talked about that.
Yeah, I know.
Horror podcast also, so that was been fun also. So, all right, Eric, you want to recap all the different shows coming up? And thank you to Chuck.
Well, we were glad to, Chuck and Billy stopped by today, and we look forward to having them back on again soon. But in case anybody missed last week in the Get to Know Your Podcaster interview series, we've interviewed, Jeremy from Cummings' is Culture. We've interviewed Slightly Serious. We've interviewed Dina Joe from the Old Man's Podcast. We've interviewed, Mr. Impact from Truly's podcast. And
yes, I like Mr. Impact. He was a hot shit.
And then tomorrow we're going to have Josh on from the Two Dumbasses. Wednesday it'll be Dennis Lee and Donald Wayne from Tall Tales in the Rabbit Hole and Trust Talk. Thursday we're going to have Lara on from Communication Station, and then we'll have Robert on next week from the Mr. Clean Music Show. And we're hoping very soon to secure bands from Hear Me Out, and we're hoping we can also interest Ralph and Cracks and hopefully a few other podcast friends interested in coming on to do a get to know your podcaster interview. But in the meantime, Milk Dog's show is going on right now. And I think Billy and Chuck have their show later on this evening, and then Slightly Serious, he's on at 9:30 we have the Free Think Institute members on for an interview, and then tomorrow morning at 6 a.m., Ralph is on Chit Chat with the Old Man at 10 a.m. Eastern. Also be on the lookout for Dreadnought 928, Just Another Day in Paradise, VOP USA Radio, The Tom Corner, and Frankie D's Crib, Lyrical Laxatives, and a host of other great podcast shows and friends of ours.
I see Billy mentioned a comment. Let's see. They're on, our Sinister said, they're on tonight at 8 p.m., Red Tie Affair after Bad Sex Education. And then Billy was saying there's not a dry seat in the place. You'd feel bad for whoever's cleaning it. Free waivers.
But Red Tie Affair is called, it's Chuck and Billy's Not Your Cup of Tea, Red Tie Affair, which is about bad sex education. So we're going to fuck that up for everybody.
That sounds like a good one.
Sounds like that should be fun.
Yeah, I'll be in there tonight. I'll make sure I get in and listen to some of that. That sounds like it's going to be fun. So, all right, everybody, thank you for joining the John DeVito Show. Eric, thank you for helping out.
Yeah.
Sinister, Chuck, and then Billy is
cool down.
telling us about your life and
Thanks, man.
things. Yeah, it was fun.
That was good to be on.
Cool. All right, we'll see you guys soon. Take care now.
Love you and God bless you, and we'll see you next time, everybody.
Absolutely.
Oh, hell no!